10 a.m. on Salam Media.
Right, we're going to chat to Yvonne Ridley in a moment. Let me also tell you that coming up after 11, when Najma Kota takes over, she will be talking to Abu Bakr Karolia on Rumi, Jalaluddin Rumi, of course, his history, his teachings, and as you know, many people who go to Turkey or Turkey, they certainly go to that area in Konya, in fact, where Rumi is synonymous, and well, I've been there, but the privilege of it, but certainly I think Abu Karolia knows it better than most, right? Now, by the way, let's talk about Sentio Capital. Sentio's Invest for Good philosophy is based on a genuine desire to use the investment skills for the benefit of broader society, while also delivering superior returns for clients, regardless of market conditions. So visit sentiocapital.com, which is Sentio-capital.com for more information on the Sharia investment products. Sentio Capital, Invest for Good. Sentio Capital Management is an authorized financial services provider. Right, let's talk about goings on in Scotland, because the Scots have a new leader, and if you didn't know about him before, well, you would know a lot more about him now. His name is Humza Yousaf. So with me is Yvonne Ridley, somebody who certainly chats very often to the teams here, as a journalist, chats often to the team here at Salam Media. Yvonne, appreciate your time, and assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
And I trust Ramadan has been going well for you so far.
Yes, it's been quite a challenge, but I hope I'm rising up to it.
Well, I think by its very nature, it always is a challenge. Well, talking about challenge and rising up to a challenge, so who's Humza Yousaf? He seems to have climbed Everest.
Well, it's great news for Muslims. He is the youngest ever at 37 First Minister. He's also the first Muslim leader in Scotland. And I was so glad to hear you say that it is a country, because quite often people think that Scotland is just an appendage of England, when quite clearly it's not. The politics are very complicated at the moment in the UK, and Scotland is pivotal to it. There's a huge movement here that is pushing for independence, and there are several independence parties, and Humza Yousaf has inherited this very complex and diverse political landscape. The leadership race that he has won has been quite damaging to the SNP's reputation. It's really been quite brutal in many ways. And I guess that the challenge for Humza now is to try and repair the damage that this brutal 5-week campaign lasted. So I'm quite sure that when he is forming his new cabinet, which I think is happening today, he will include his two rivals, Ash Reagan and Kate Forbes.
Well, I mean, a couple of thoughts. I mean, you spoke about Scotland being this country. Well, if I didn't know it before, besides watching Scotland playing football against England, or the old enemy as it used to be called, the other thought is, of course, Braveheart. People need to see that to understand just the differences that exist within the United Kingdom. But here's the more important issue, right? So that we understand it. So with Humza Yousaf being elected, and just correct me if I've got the terminology wrong, if he's elected now effectively as the leader of Scotland, how does that fit in, besides the separatist or independence agenda, how does that fit in terms of his daily dealings with, for now I'm going to use it with inverted commas, big brother, that is England as part of the United Kingdom?
Well, of course, the United Kingdom is run politically by Rishi Sunak, who is also of Asian heritage. So we've got quite an interesting and diverse mix at the moment. And I think that this is great for school children who see these leaders rise up and realize that, that we live in a very diverse world. And
I think that I think that that's very true. But here's the important issue, therefore, right? I mean, you're right about the role model factor, because now they see, they believe. I mean, the same thing happened with Barack Obama. So the world's clearly changing, right? But here's the thought. You mentioned from the outset that Humza Yousaf's election is very good news for Muslims. I'm going to suggest, well, I'm going to ask you, why is it good for Muslims besides him being a Muslim? Because I would think for him to get elected, his constituency is predominantly non-Muslim. It's the only way you could actually get elected as the leader of Scotland, right?
Well, Scotland is a very white country. It does have a lot of immigrants from Europe, but this is a stunning achievement, really, for the Muslim community here. And in Scotland, I think that the Muslim community is much more confident than their counterparts in England. You're much more likely to get a Muslim waving the Scottish flag, the saltire, and be quite at ease doing that. Whereas in England, obviously, the flag St. George, the white flag with the red cross, has different connotations. We have our own tartan here, so you will see Muslims in a kilt. In fact, when Humza Yousaf is sworn in today, I suspect he will wear a kilt of the Islamic tartan, and he possibly will wear a jacket which has a nod to his Pakistan heritage. And this is the important thing about Scotland. It does have a diverse community.
Well, that's fascinating. Tell us very quickly, if you can,
to integrate.
Okay. Well, I look out for that and see what he'll be wearing, kilt or not, right? Lastly, I mean, just in about a minute, just share with us the reasons for his rise to power. He's only 37. He would be part of a minority community, now representing the absolute majority. There has to be compelling reasons why he's been entrusted with this position. If you can share with us very quickly about the reasons for his rise to power, and that quickly, yeah.
Well, he's been in politics for more than a decade, and he's held 3 of the highest offices in the Scottish Parliament. Perhaps not as successful as people would want, but nevertheless, he has held these positions. He's married to Nadia El Makla, who has family in Gaza. Her father is Palestinian. So I'm hoping that Humza will be sympathetic to the Palestinian cause when called upon.
Well, we'll look out for that. Let's leave it at that for now. Let's see, kilt or not, what type of kilt, and the Pakistani connection as well. Yvonne Ridley, thank you for your time. This is quite a fascinating story, and we're glad that you shared that with us. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
There we are. Thank you. From Yvonne Ridley talking about changes in Scotland and Humza Yousaf. What about Sumaya Sibisi? Well, she's being featured in this feature that we call My First Ramadan. She comes up next.